Are we here?
Hello. And it's not echoing.
Good.
Brownie
Hi.
point.
Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for tuning in to Raw Babes 101. Whoop, whoop. Oh, we did it perfectly. We didn't even rehearse for that.
We don't have to rehearse because we're pretty on par and we're just that aligned. That's what happens when you spend so much time with somebody. You start finishing each other's sandwiches.
Okay, you want to know what else is super cool about Tiffany and I? In our chart, Tiffany is Sagittarius, I'm Virgo, and then our moon and our rising is both Scorpio and Libra. I was just like, we're the same people.
Pretty much.
And then fire and earth.
Yeah.
It's pretty dope.
Because I am pretty fiery and you're definitely not as fiery as me.
No, a little bit more calm at times, but
100%.
I think the fiery is more when there's been an irk. If you've been irked or poked the bear.
There is few things that make me go that way.
Yeah, and they're getting less because you have less and less triggers. Thanks to Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa.
We love you, Lisa.
Love you, Lisa. I'm gonna make a song about Lisa one of these days.
Totally.
Yep.
My hair is so wild, but it's okay.
So the one thing that's kind of confused us is like, okay, now that we're like video recording ourselves, it's kind of fucked us up because it's not even mirroring.
No.
It is
swapped.
Yeah.
So I'm weird. Looking at myself across the table and Tiffany's looking at herself.
This? So then if I put this up, oh, you can see it's not backwards. Okay.
Okay. So that's the positive.
That is a positive.
That's good. So Tiffany and I have decided to share some real raw events that happened between the two of us. And so, long story short, I'll do the best that I can because you guys all know my long story shorts. They're quite long.
Well, let's just start with, I know we've obviously mentioned before how long Kristen and I have known each other. So I'm just going to start real quick.
I'd love you to. And I just saw on our recording, it just said 222. So That's perfect. We're aligned perfectly.
So basically, Kristen and I have spent umpteenth hours and so much time together in the past. And there was this particular trip that we did. Kristen, you were 18 at the time. Mm-hmm. So I'm a few years old. I'm 4 years, 5 years old.
Well, you're going to be 39. So you're 39. Yeah, and I'm 34.
Okay. So 5.
Yeah, I had to count on my fingers. That's okay.
Yeah, so at that time, I just remember that trip actually pretty clearly, which is funny because I don't remember a lot of things. And when people tell me stories about me, I don't often remember them. But I think this was just a highlight because this is one of the trips that your parents invited us to. We got to go pretty much for our first like mini vacation away. And yeah, so there was just some like highlights that I remember. And
so basically what happened, it was on New Year's and we were having a wicked time.
This New Year's,
yeah, having a wicked time, just playing Cards Against Humanity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we are just having a great time. We're with my mom and dad, and it's Tiffany and her husband Dave and myself. And then my mom kind of brought up something and she kind of did a little tease at me, and she didn't mean it in, nobody means anything in any type of a way, but it was kind of like a tease of making fun. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I just kind of shot it back, kind of having fun with it. Anyway, and then we were playing the game and we're like laughing our head off and we're just having like literally the best time. And then something...
Surprised nobody left with wet pants.
I know, especially me. So then somebody brought up this trip that we went to in a Soyuz, and we were talking about it. And then Tiffany made a comment. She's like, oh, I remember that time when you threw a huge hissy fit over wanting a certain bedroom. And then I internalized it. Like, I sat there, I was like, oh, I was like, okay. And then I was just like, kind of another little teaser on me. And I was like, just roll with it and have fun and kind of pass it by. And then we were playing the game, and I was like taking a little bit more time than everybody else. And then there was like another little tease, and Tiffany's like, oh, I'm going to put the timer on, and it's all in fun. But what was happening to me was I was internalizing little things, and these were little triggers going on inside of me. And then it was kind of like that not good enough was playing in my head. And then that the way that I like used to be was very different. I've done so much work on myself that I'm not even the same human. Like, I
You're
don't
not the
no, I
same
don't
human
I don't
at
even
all.
act the same. I was just like this little girl that was crying for something, for help at a young
Well, I'll tell
age.
you what it was. It was your ego,
Totally.
and ego comes in when it feels like it needs to protect you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what it's for. So Kristen felt like she needed protection from an old way of being, and so her ego just kind of got a little bit of the best of her.
Totally.
And
And,
yeah.
and instead of, I didn't get angry and I didn't feel mad towards Tiffany, I actually felt sad. And I know that from doing so much work with Lisa, um, what happens to most people is they would have gotten angry, and then they would have been like gotten their back up and then maybe shot fire back towards the situation, or they could have left the table or cried, or there could have been lots of different reactions. And then after we played the game, we moved into the kitchen and we're just talking about different things. I was really trying to remember this trip because I wanted to know all about it. And I couldn't really remember anything about the trip. And then Tiffany's like,
I don't feel special now.
don't not feel special because you're very special. But and then Tiffany's like, oh yeah, and she was trying to think of things that she could remember. She's like, oh, we went into this hardware store and Dave did something, and just say what you had said.
Oh, he was being a prick
And like pestering me.
He was pestering you. And I watched this happen. I was more observing than anything. And then you reacted in such a way it actually scared me. It startled me, and you yelled at him.
Okay.
And my reaction to that was like literally like, oh, I'm out of here. And I actually walked out the door because I didn't want to draw attention to us, because that's where I was at in my insecurities. I was afraid of being stared at and judged.
Yes.
And that's how I remember that moment.
And then it's cool because Tiffany is remembering obviously her experience. I'm trying to remember my experience. And then that was just like another little trigger that was happening for me that night. And I was just like internalizing it, but also just being present and enjoying my time. But I was like, I know I need to take this entire situation, go back to my counselor, and fucking dissect the shit out of this, because there is some triggers and hurt and wounds that are open during this sort of topic, or what was triggered that evening. So then this is the next step is, okay, Tiffany and I have a podcast together. We freaking share so much information and love the shit out of each other. I'm sitting here thinking, flip, like, do I talk to her about this? I want to talk to her about this. I want to bring up like this old wound and what kind of went on for me. But I was like, I'm going to talk to my counselor first. Then I'm going to like heal my stuff. And then I'm going to obviously address this. And it's cool because I talked to Tiffany about this literally 30 minutes ago.
Before we started the
Before we
podcast,
started.
because it kind of was relevant to what we wanted to talk about.
Exactly.
In general.
100%.
So there is a pun in this, or not a pun.
There is a point.
Segue.
Sure. Segue. So, she was game. She's just like, I literally have in my notes, I was like, use this in the podcast because we want to be able to resonate with you guys and give you a real life situation, because how many parties do people go to, or just even family dinners, and an aunt or an uncle or a friend or a boyfriend or a mom puts you on the spot and is highlighting not a positive moment in your life, and is maybe bringing up something that is at your worst. So some of the takeaways from this that Lisa had, the tools that she gave me, was first off, loving myself in those imperfect moments, and being imperfect is absolutely perfect, 100%.
100%.
And embracing your flaws, not being embarrassed of them if they get brought up, and if highlights of your worst moments do get brought up, because they will, and it happens, be okay with it and surrender to it, and even bring in some laughter, a joke. And you know what, if I would have been like, oh well, luckily that Kristen isn't here tonight, or oh, that little spoiled brat, blah blah blah, something like that, just would have brought in light to the situation, and it would also, it wouldn't have been anything that's bothering me because I've healed that. But clearly I hadn't healed it until now, until we're talking about this. I did want to say something else about that. Yeah. Oh, the observing. This is the little thing.
Right.
Another little tip was,
Tippy two. Tippity dip.
if somebody's talking about you or you're in an uncomfortable situation, observe it like a washing machine. Don't get inside of it. Don't get sucked in or sucked down to the low vibe. Observe. Stand at a distance, observe what's going on, and then deal with yourself later. And I'm tooting my own horn here because I was like, fuck, I actually did that. I did not. Tiffany had no idea. She is coming from a loving place. She was not coming from a place to hurt my feelings. She didn't know that she hurt my feelings. That would never be her intention. But we talk about it, and we're freaking sisters. So we want to move past this. And it's so important to be open and honest.
Well, yes, because if that little Kristen wasn't around to learn this lesson, we wouldn't be able to do the work that we're doing right now. And I do feel, and I'm sure everybody else listening feels, that this work is very, very important, because this is what to prepare us for the things that come up next later in life.
Mm-hmm.
We got to kind of open these wounds, because this leads into this segue of shedding old skin and stepping into the new.
100%.
Now, with what Kristen and I have been doing over the past, well, you've been seeing Lisa for a while, but
7 years.
we've been on the path of work and self-discovery, raising our vibrations, just so we can be at our most honest and authentic self without feeling insecure about it.
100%.
Right? So, is that being said, when these things come up, they are super uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
It actually can make you feel kind of icky. And when these things do happen, we can actually revert to things that are very destructive, that turn into like a band-aid.
Yeah.
Like shopping, alcohol, drugs, maybe sex. I don't know.
Totally. I'll just
Gossip would be another one,
huge.
when you're like reflecting on someone else. But honestly, gossip is probably one of it's along the same with, I think, with alcohol and drugs. It's just feeding the fire.
It is, and it's avoiding all feelings.
100%.
And I did notice with myself, I was starting to withdraw. Like that happened on New Year's. So then I didn't have Lisa till the Tuesday. And I watched myself withdraw. I watched myself just not do as many things that I would normally do in a loving way for myself. And that's all self-sabotage. So I knew, I was like, bingo, bango, we just hit the we just hit the jackpot.
The nail in the coffin.
Yes. So it was huge. And the old me, I could have just like gone shopping, or I would have done other things. But the way that I do things now is I just sit, I get quiet. I could have called up someone and been like, oh my God, you know what blah, blah, blah did? No, because actually nobody did anything. I was just triggered. It's nobody's fault. It was the triggers within me. It's my issue and it's my problem.
100%.
I have to heal it. But it's my duty to then heal it, but then to talk about it to Tiffany to say, hey, those areas were highlighted of not like my best moments, and this is how I felt, and talk about it, work through it. I know that she's always coming from a absolute loving place because she loves me, but it still needs to be addressed
unconditionally. By the way,
unconditional love. Thank you. Should I read this little thing because it's pretty like relevant to this whole situation?
Of course.
Okay. So before Tiffany got here, and before I knew that I was going to share with her what happened and the trigger thing, I pulled a card. And I was like,
this isn't going to be the card that everybody waits for, by the way.
It's not the Gabby card. It's not an affirmation. This is actually an oracle card, and it's called Ask Your Guides. So I'm like, hey, let's like pull out a card on the topic for today, and it's just naturally unfolding as it should. So the card is Priorities and Master Teacher. And
see, look at that little person running away from the box. Now, if you are just listening, then maybe you should go to our YouTube channel and then you could see this.
Exactly.
But basically, there's a person running away from a box full of almost looks like groceries.
And a blanket. Yeah, lots of
necessities.
Things. Exactly.
And then there's like ghost-like, spirit-like hands, palms facing up, fingers down, kind of like scooping up, broken pieces. Like, totally. Hi, I'm here.
Yeah. And I pulled that card and I'm looking and I'm like, oh, that would have been the old me running away from a problem and just avoiding it. I would have just withdrawn, not talked to Tiffany about it, and would have just felt hurt and would pushed her away, because I would have just automatically played that monkey brain in my head, and I would have said, well, she actually doesn't really love me. Obviously, she doesn't really care about me that much if she's highlighting those moments, and maybe this is the monkey brain of going, oh well, maybe she's not really feeling it that much. Maybe she's thinking that I am still that person. So that's how your mind
which
can go.
Neither are true.
Exactly. And I of course know that, but that's the game that your mind wants to play, and I know everybody will resonate with that.
Trickery. Read. Go ahead, read it.
So for every new ambition, relationship, and experience you seek at this time, there's a commitment in place that must be eliminated to make way for the new. Current routines, habits, and even types of free time must be sacrificed so that you can open up to new energies. Your master teacher is present, urging you to identify what you must let go. Be honest in your assessment, and also be realistic and thoughtful in setting your goals so that you don't overreach and fail. Your master teacher reminds you that even though the universe does support your heart, it doesn't allow you to bypass the work necessary to manifest your desires. You're going to have to read because my eyes are doing that.
Eyes are doing the thing. Okay.
Right there.
Bypass the desires. Okay. So in other words, you reap what you sow. And the best way is to systematically move towards your priorities while simultaneously discarding what no longer serves you. If you want to lose 10 pounds, you must release the jelly donuts. If you want to work for yourself, you must let go the need for others to take care of you. If you want to create a new loving relationship, you mustn't brood over past heartbreaks any longer. The message from your master teacher: to reach out for something greater, you must first let go of what's in your hand.
That's deep.
Ooh. Okay, this message has been coming up for at least a week for me, not realizing that this was going to be our podcast topic.
Crazy.
So I just finished reading Spirit Junkie from Gabrielle Bernstein. Honestly, if anybody who is on the road of light work and self-discovery, fucking read this book. It is... I resonated with it in so many different levels, so many different times. I love the way she writes. She's absolutely brilliant. And she comes with a world of wisdom.
Yes.
And she has some really, really profound and important things to say. And leading into this new year, it is all about shedding old skin and going into the new. And this topic just keeps coming up. Now, because I am a personal trainer, what I find the most with people that reach out to me, or clients, or just people in general, that there is a lot of living in the past, and that can be a lot of that self-talk, that sabotage. Thank you. And those things can sound like: I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not pretty enough, I don't deserve it, I fuck up all the time, I'm not worthy. A lot of times people, I've heard this story time and time again. Well, when I fall hard, when I fall hard. Either I'm all in or I'm all out. There's nothing in between.
Yeah.
Okay, that is just...
it's an old belief and it's an old pattern.
Exactly. Why do we say this is the way I am? Okay, but you're just affirming that. So be open to having a new you. Today's a new day.
100%.
Right?
And be careful what you say after I am. Because that's out to the... I just saw a post on Instagram when you just said I am, and it triggered that. And it was like, whatever you say after I am, be very mindful of that, because you're affirming what you are.
And this is a cycle that we need to learn to break. And it doesn't mean that these things, like even with all the work that we're doing, doesn't mean that these things aren't going to come up. We've just now learning the tools to apply them. So when we are, my mother used to say this. Well, say something's happening and you're having the same thing reoccurring that's just not ideal over and over. How's that working for you?
I can't even believe you just said that right now, because that would be something that Stefan would say. So how's that working for you,
How's
Kristen?
that working for you?
And it's like, it's not working for me and it fucking sucks, so do something about it different.
And we get in this psychosomatic mindset that we think that if we just keep it up, something will change, but nothing is going to change unless you change something in that pattern. Yes. Yeah, I'm pointing at the table. I don't know why.
It's that same thing that we said in this card about letting go. If you're trying to move forward, but you still have this in your hand, you're not going to be able to move forward. Let it go.
Like, bye. Mic drop.
Let it go.
Let it go.
Yeah. Amazing.
Honestly, I feel like we could talk about this forever.
This is so, and I'm loving this, because Tiffany and I, as we always talk about, like, we come from a very loving place, and I've posted a little bit about this. Tiffany's talked about this, and even triggering our audience and our listeners and our viewers. We want you to get triggered. We want you to feel uncomfortable at times, so you can go, oh, what is that? And why did that make me feel uncomfortable? And
well, here, how about this? If it's making you feel uncomfortable, know that that is something that you may need to work on.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody makes you feel anything.
No.
Those are your thoughts, your feelings. Nobody can make you do anything in that head of yours. That is fully your choice.
Yeah.
So if something is coming up, it's not saying, like, I'm not saying it doesn't matter, because it is valid.
Yes.
In the grand scheme of things, we are a bit of dust, and
Yeah.
we're not going to go there right now, but it is valid, and you should validate it in
Your
that
feelings.
moment. Yeah.
Mhm.
And sit.
Yes, but sit. Yeah, don't react, because it's a perfect example again with me. There was no reaction. It was feeling and just like marinating in it.
Mm-hmm. But in this case, in your case, which in many cases, the monkey brain goes, the ego gets set into place,
And it's
and
fucking game on.
guys, when the ego, you know it's your ego when you cannot stop thinking about it and it's not super positive.
And I couldn't, because I was like, I was judging and thinking and why and blah and blah.
And the
It's like,
feeling of
enough.
not good enough.
Yes.
Ego. Old feelings, old thoughts. Honey, Linda, listen. This shit doesn't serve you.
No.
This is not going to help you move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Is living in the past. I fucking did it today. I'm going to talk about it. My old belief was that I am not good enough. I'm not smart enough, whatever it was. I just wasn't good enough. And when I felt like people didn't like, or I felt that people didn't like me.
Like, you've already portrayed this, but it's your feelings. Like, it's you. It wasn't actually anybody else doing anything to you.
No.
Okay.
Nobody did anything. It is me making up stories in my head that I'm not good enough to be friends with certain people. But in the reality, it could be just because we're just not aligning. Like, how can I not be good enough for a beautiful relationship? Of course I am.
Of course
I am. I mean, no, I'm not going to say it. I was going to say, look at me.
No, she's going to say
kidding.
it. Because, you are just going to say it. And this is why we're doing what we're doing, is because we're putting ourselves out there because we want to. We want you guys to understand that we're just like you and like everybody else. And we have insecurities and we fuck up sometimes and we don't say the right thing. And that's why we're just raw. This is what Raw Babes is all about. Is just the authentic truth. And we are coming from, like I said, such a loving place. And
a place of not giving a flying fuck if you have a problem with it.
Right.
Because if you did have a problem with it, then we just don't align. And
that's okay.
That's okay.
And maybe we will come back to each other. It could circle around.
And if any of this shit is triggering you, well, now you know what you need to do.
Yes.
Is you need to do a little work on it, dissect it. So I just...
I love you, Tiffany. She's on it.
So
she's on the 2021 freaking like firing.
Well, because this is a conversation I want to reach with my audience, and I've been doing it through my Instagram. I've been writing a lot recently.
She's bringing the pen to the paper.
I am.
Like she used to.
Yes. I used to do it tons years ago, but I did it for other reasons and not because of like downloads. It's just literally I had no one to talk to, so I would write it out, and I literally was like appalled when I would read it because I'm like, that
you're like, that's not very positive.
I'm like, ooh,
burn
that shit.
One thing that's cool is Tiffany's daughter. She is an incredible artist, just like Tiffany. If any of you guys have seen any of her work, she's amazing at drawing and anything creative, and obviously journaling. And her daughter is like picking up where Tiffany left off,
pretty much.
And she did this like the third eye, and I was like, that is...
No, we didn't know it was third eye.
No,
but she was drawing like an eye.
Oh yeah, and I'm like, that's a third eye. I'm like, dude, that's like beautiful third eye.
She's getting so much detail, and it's so I just can't even believe an 11-year-old is drawing this
like this.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and she's doing journaling, and I'm loving the fact that she's at school and they're encouraging journaling. It's just showing how everything's just shifting to such a positive light. It's totally shifting to the light.
If you choose to see it that way.
If you choose to see it that way.
Which I completely do, because I think everything happens for a reason. And
it's all divine timing.
It's divine timing. And we're not really afraid anymore, are we?
No.
I feel absolutely fearless in this work.
Yeah. Me too.
At this time. Sometimes my ego gets in the way, but I just tell that thing, just
take a seat.
Take a hike. Go count some leaves. Thanks, Shiona.
So we love Shiona, and also I want to mention Stevie Shaler. She's incredible. Tiffany hopped on to one of her classes. I've done 2 workshops with her. They're 4 weeks. She's doing them monthly. She's also a medium. She's connected with spirit since pretty much birth. And she's got an amazing podcast, and she's just an amazing human. And I'm grateful that I have gotten to know her and meet her. I've had a reading from her, and like I said, also doing her classes. And it's really brought me and Tiffany to like the next level of not being afraid to be spiritual, to talk about spirituality, and to connect with the other dimensions. Because honestly, once you actually just believe and connect and know that nothing happens by chance,
nothing's coincidence.
No, it's just you unleash so you unleash this fearless warrior within you. And why we're doing this is because we want to unleash that in you, in all of you. And sometimes we don't have the finances to go and get our cards read, or take these classes and courses and workshops. So if we can even touch one of you and open up a different way of thinking, we've served our purpose. And that is why we're here, because you can listen to us for free and maybe feel better. And I know you're going to fucking feel better, because that's just one thing that Tiffany and I love to do.
It's like lighting fire under my ass when I know I've helped somebody.
Yeah.
It's like, it's almost, is it a selfish thing? It could be.
It's like selfish but selfless, because it's for a reason. It's not just, it's because we've done the work and are continually doing the work. It's I said this actually to someone the other day. I'm like, this is not a destination, it's a journey. Even at 60 years old, you're still going to be working through things that come up, and that's okay, as long as you're working through them. If you're just staying stuck and life is feeling tough and heavy and not working for you, there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and you need to start to heal it, because it's just like your priorities. If you keep pushing them to the side, that box is going to stay there full. It's going to get higher and higher and higher. You're going to get more and more anxiety and more problems, and then you're going to not enjoy life, and then you're going to try to find external worlds to fulfill your internal world. So really start to look at that box of stuff and start removing things from it and emptying it out, because if you don't, that box is going to follow you. You can't get rid of it.
You certainly can't. You certainly cannot. No. And it's going to overflow, and it's going to punch you right hard in the balls. It's going to hurt.
In the dingleberries is what my son calls it with his dad. They say dingleberries. And I'm just like, okay.
They're called testicles.
Yeah. We're supposed to call them, but it's just funny. He's 4, and when he says dingleberries, come on, that's fucking cute.
It's fucking cute.
It's cute. Ooh.
But this is such a beautiful topic. There was something else I wanted to add to what you were saying.
Shoot.
Well, about you were saying something about
the box. It's a dick in a box. It's a dick in a box. Oh my gosh.
Well, yeah. So when your box spills over, things can happen, obviously. You can project your problems on other people, point fingers, gossip, which is probably the meanest thing that you could do, is sit and talking about somebody you know nothing about. And two, putting those beliefs on other people that just not fair. So, but that wasn't actually it.
It's okay. It will come back.
It'll come back.
But I do know something we could throw in. This is just a little bit of a curveball.
I like curveballs.
I know you do.
Yeah.
So we had somebody ask us a question, and we were going to answer it. So Tiffany, you can go first. What is in your kitchen?
Like
What's in your kitchen? When you open up your fridge, when you open up a cupboard, what's in your what's your favorite 3-4 things in your kitchen in your fridge?
I just posted 2 of my friends.
Oh, so I'm
No.
your favorite thing in the kitchen?
Well, you actually inspired one of them. One of them I already had. So one is my juicer is like right there with my blender.
Okay.
Those are my 2 favorite things, and the other things would be the things I would juice and blend.
Yeah, same.
I could honestly live off of what I'm juicing, what I'm blending, for a little while now because I juice and blend so much. Totally. I have one big solid meal, sometimes 2, depends on how I'm feeling, but yeah, I have felt very nourished.
Isn't it incredible?
Doesn't my skin look good?
It looks amazing. Yeah. You're just glowing.
I'm very glowy right now. So I did just finish my period.
Mine's, yeah, I don't know where it is. I have, so for years I've had cysts in my ovaries, so I've been very irregular. But since doing all the work and working out and medical medium, it's been better. But during times that are a little bit more stressful or something, it likes to disappear. So I'm hoping I did reflexology, which everybody should do. Reflexology rocks. Mm-hmm. But in my favorite thing is going to be the same. It's simple. Actually, a lot of people ask me, what do I even eat? And I'm like, well, you mean what do I drink? What I drink is fruits and vegetables and smoothies. I live off that. Every day. It's the easiest thing. It's so filling and it's delicious. It's the heavy metal detox smoothie is my go-to every single day, and whether it's going to be for lunch or dinner. And obviously my blender and my juicer is the same thing as Tiffany. You're going to open up my fridge and it's just basically just fruits and vegetables. Yeah. It's easy. It's really easy.
I do have a ton of stuff in my pantry for like, I don't know, maybe more for the family, but I really don't often go in there unless I'm making rice or something like that.
Yeah.
In my rice cooker.
I will say, so because I don't have anything really like that's processed and not that great, but if I am going to have something, during Christmas, I had on one night, my grandmother had a huge box of Ferrero Rochers. And I'm being 100% honest. I probably had 7. That was the only thing that I did.
That would actually make me feel sick. I'm not going to lie.
So I had 7 because I'm very much of a type of person that I stay away from all that stuff. It's just better for me. But my skin, if I have any dairy or chocolate, my skin's done. So then it's just like full breakout. So it wasn't worth it. No. It just wasn't worth it. It's not worth it at all.
In the moment, sometimes it feels so good.
Yeah,
but what's happening in the moment when you're doing something like that, guys, is that it is releasing your stress hormones, so serotonin. And that's why we can get actually... so when we're feeling these feelings and triggers that we're talking about, rather than turning to alcohol and all that stuff, food is one of them. Huge. Because it feeds that serotonin, that feeling, and we can actually get addicted to it. And then in turn, we get addicted to what's in the food that we're actually eating, and what's in the food is the preservatives. Chemicals. Exactly. And sugar, lots of sugar. So guys, don't feel weak when you can't stop thinking about it and you want to go into that pantry. It's because your body is craving it and it's not because you're weak.
Mm-hmm.
It's because of atomically what it's doing to your body.
Yes.
Right?
It's not, and the other thing, what I was going to add to that, you could be lacking nutrition. So if you were to eat the metal detox smoothie or making a juice, you obviously that would just curve your craving, and all of a sudden you won't be reaching for that. You'll be like, oh, I'm craving a metal detox smoothie, and Tiffany and I crave them. We're like, oh, like
on the daily.
Yeah,
on the daily.
That is our.
Now, okay, here we'll just off the topic. Well, not really. What if, because cilantro is like a big part of that smoothie, and I know there's just like some people are either lovers or haters of cilantro, and that makes me super sad.
Like because some people actually eat it and it tastes like soap to them. Yeah. There's something chemical reaction or something missing, so they can't stand it. It actually tastes like soap.
Yeah. And isn't that the same chromosome or whatever that makes you smell asparagus in urine? Because I
thought it was for every person.
No, it's not.
Well, mine smells. Does yours?
No, I can never smell it.
There's no. Okay, challenge, guys. She's gonna. I'm making her eat an entire thing of asparagus, and I'm gonna smell her pee. Yum. I am. I don't believe it.
I could smell my. You know what? If you want to smell it,
yeah,
you can smell it. That's fine.
We'll make a freaking IGT of it. IGTV.
Yeah.
Tiffany's pee. Does it smell like asparagus or not? This is gonna be the challenge.
Shit. I'm in piss. But these are really good because okay, and then there is also I don't even know if it's too late. It's too late. I'm gonna just say it. There is this theory. Well, I've heard lots of studies based on like a smoothie or a liquid diet, and yes, our bodies are meant to digest food because the first line of digestion starts in your mouth. And when you're constantly just drinking things, your body's never getting a chance to digest
and work
full whole foods. So that's why I just kind of listen to my body, and I do thoroughly enjoy the meal that I eat, whatever I decide to eat. But I just listen to my body, and my body's not going crazy. I work out. I haven't been sleeping very well lately, but I have a feeling that has to do with the retrograde that's happening.
That's coming, and it's moved into the whole 5D thing. That's a huge thing. So you're just, our bodies are re-upgrading because Tiffany said the same thing. I'm like, no, sleep has not been on point.
No, and I'm sure other people are feeling this too, and they're kind of confused, but basically there's just a huge pull that's happening in our universe and with the earth, and these are real things that are happening. So
speaking though of Mercury retrograde, a lot of people may not know about a Mercury retrograde, so just be mindful. Don't sign any paperwork, don't do any big purchases, don't do anything, buy new computers or anything like that, because it's literally Mercury is going backwards, and that is the main signs, I believe, that rule Gemini and Virgo. And so that's basically your shadow period is from January, I want to say 15th. Yeah, January 15th is going to start, and it will end March 13th. So don't sign paperwork. Don't do anything important. Don't even launch anything during that time. Like, we should quickly share. Remember when we were going to launch our podcast, the three of us?
Yeah.
And Christina and Tiffany were like, okay, so like, let's launch, blah, blah. And I was like, shit.
No, that's not what happened.
Okay, what happened? We just froze.
Okay, that's okay. Our video froze. Nothing new here. Every time Tiff and Kristen are together, our shit just does stuff. So hi, Jackie. How are you? So basically, when we started, we were preparing for the podcast, and we were putting a bunch of recordings in our bank and all this stuff. And I know Kristen, based on everything that she was sharing, she was fucking pumped. Like, she wanted to like, she was just so excited about this. But on the other end, Christina and I can't remember why, and I'm sure Christina can help me remember this, but for some reason we were like, I just don't
Oh,
know that
yes. I
it's
remember now.
time yet. Like, we're not in a rush. No one's expecting it. Like, okay, so how are we going to tell Kristen this? So then we come to tell Kristen, and Kristen's already like, yeah, guys, we shouldn't be launching the podcast. We're in retrograde, and we can't do this.
And I was like, yeah, we can't do it. And so, but I had no idea that you guys were feeling that way. So I'm thinking on my end that I'm like, fuck, I have to like let them down like lightly, because I felt on this end that you guys were so excited to launch on this date. And then I look at the calendar, I'm like, nope.
No.
I'm like, we can't do this.
And we completely agreed after.
You guys were like, you were more than fine. You guys were just
100%. 100%. And you know what? It gave us time to reflect, record, get prepared for what was to happen. And the worst of the things that happened. Obviously, Christina's husband passed, and it was just devastating, absolutely devastating. But we did have a goal, and Christina did say that Tyson was so excited for all of us, and that's what he would want, and that's
what we did.
That's what we did.
100%.
So here we are.
Wow.
Woo!
Yeah. Or we've already launched. We're 7 episodes deep and 2 YouTubes in, and this is such a fun ride, and I'm freaking loving it.
So exciting.
And our video is pausing, which is amazing. So should I pull?
Look at our faces. Like, really?
Come on. You guys, if you watch our YouTube channel, you'll know exactly what's going on.
So annoying.
Wrong one. Am I pulling? Cut.
I guess. Was there anything? There's so much to add to this conversation. Just know, guys, in regards to this whole topic, and if any of it is just kind of irking you a little bit, it probably is time to shed a bit of light into some possible change in your life. If you have been thinking about a certain thing that you've wanted to do or you've wanted to change, now is the time to do it. And if you don't know how, that's fine. Oh, this is what I wanted to talk about.
Perfect.
Okay, it's come to me. Guys, if you do not know what the next step is and you feel fucking hopeless, you feel like low, you do not know where to turn, who to ask, how to make yourself feel better, I want you to just trust in the process, because the universe has our back. It has all of our backs. But the thing is, the reason why you haven't been able to hear it is because you're so consumed with your issues that you're not dealing with, because they keep arising because you're not dealing with them. Those ideas, those things that you wanted to do for yourself, things that just been on your mind, it's time to bring it to the surface.
The carpet is going to keep getting pulled out from under you, and that could be an illness. That could be
it can turn
100%.
Oh my gosh.
I know we have talked about this, but it's so
real.
Yeah.
I mean, guys, look what's happening into the States right now. We're in Canada. And I just watched a video. I'm not going to get into the politics of it at all, but I'm just saying that it is coming to light about changing old patterns. What we've been doing for so long is not working. It is time to step into the new, even if it is uncomfortable. Our bodies are meant to take us back to what is comfortable. Our bodies are used to routine. But in order to grow and to move into a new light, a new you, a better you, it is time to shed the old skin. I can't stop saying that.
I love it.
Shed the old skin. Stepping into the new.
It's like a freaking snake has to shed.
I was just gonna say that.
Woo! Love it.
Shit, we're on
fire.
Okay, pull this motherfucking card, bitch.
Okay.
My loving bitch. So aggressive.
I got 2.
Okay, we're doing
Are
it.
we doing 2?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. And okay, I have to share this now.
Okay.
Fuck. This card, guys, I can't even show you because we're frozen on here.
God damn it.
Has a butterfly. And I went to a store today and saw the most beautiful necklace that had a butterfly on it. It was called to me. It had S's like Stefan's S.
Oh.
And now that I just pulled the card with the butterfly, it's just resonated
Okay.
with that's just
beautiful.
I have to get it.
I love it.
I know I have to get it. So the card says, I surrender to a power greater than me.
Whoa!
Tiffany just said that.
Yes.
You just said that. You said the universe has your back.
Has your back, and trust in it. And
surrender.
When you put the trust in the universe, you actually need to say, I surrender.
Yes.
And ask for a sign. Ask for some help. That's what the universe is there for. These energies are not a coincidence, guys. Every time we pull a card, it has everything to do with what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And surrender, surrender, surrender.
We are back on. So I have to show. This is the beautiful card with the beautiful butterfly on it. Aww. And I should actually share because I've mentioned Stefan's name twice. So he's a dear friend of mine and also was of Tiffany's. I knew him like for years and years and years and years and years, and he had passed. This has been quite a few years ago, and I obviously get readings and see Nikki with the Reiki healing, and he comes through all the time. And it's really magical because he's been guiding me along the way. And that's why I've just come to this place to share so much about your past loved ones that they haven't gone anywhere. Their shell is just released. They just have released their shell. So the second card that I pulled is...
That was beautiful, by the way.
I am affirming. We say after, what do we say after I am? The loving energy of the universe.
Guys, this is a beautiful example that I want you to resonate with here. That you have the power. You are the power. And just so you know, there is nothing wrong with you. You're only right. It's just you're just stuck in some old ways. Mm-hmm. And we're learning new ways. And this is our message to you. It's just time for
100%.
That change.
And nothing is right or wrong. Everything is a lesson. And Stevie, like, she is very good at explaining that. It's not like the good or the evil or the wrong or the right. It's a lesson. Mm-hmm. So whatever happens to you is literally only a lesson, and it's to prompt you to heal something. And once you heal that, you're going to move on to the next thing.
So in saying that, when say when I was saying earlier, you're in a moment, you don't know what to do, you're probably very consumed in the drama of your own life. Not that it's not legit, but either way, it's detrimental to your feelings, your health, probably not an ideal situation. You don't know what to do. Sit in that silence. And just know that time will pass, and trust that something's going to come up, especially if you surrender.
Yeah.
So once you surrender, those answers will come to you. Yeah.
And the signs and synchronicities will show everywhere. Like,
you just got to listen.
Look at the string. Does that not look like a necklace to you?
Uh-huh.
And that's like the necklace that I found today and fell in love with, but I didn't get. But it's time to get the necklace. I just got the sign. I saw the sign. What an amazing freaking episode, topic, and share. Tiffany,
we rocked it.
You're on fire, girl.
Oh,
love you.
Love you.
And love all of you.
All of you.
And you.
All of our millions of followers.
Millions. Love you guys.
You know what? We are so grateful and thankful we're watching our numbers, and it makes me super giddy inside because it just makes me know that we're on the right track and we're hitting the bullet in the nose or the. Oh, fuck. I'm always so bad at these.
No, it's great because you guys, we're going to have like hashtags down the road, and what was the pulling the weeds from the weeds, and what was this one? The
It's
bullet.
not an epiphany. It's a Tiffany.
Yes. When we were driving in the car, I was like, no. So like, Tiffany, say that again. I'm like, no, it's a Tiffany. It's not an epiphany. I love that.
I know. And you know what? I've actually been known to make up my own language because I barely understand English as it is. And half the time I can't even speak it. So
that's what you actually said when we had Amy on the podcast. Tiffany said, what?
Oh, I can't even understand English.
Yeah, and you're like, we speak English? You're like, what? And then we lost
That was actually really funny.
I lost my marbles. That was hilarious.
Well, I hope you guys got some good resonation out of this and some good laughs.
Some more tools for your toolbox. It's a dick in a box.
And yeah, you'll be hearing from
subscribe,
us.
Share.
Soon.
Come on. We're coming back every Wednesday.
Yeah.
Actually, Tuesday late nights. Late night Tuesday.
Also, hey, since we got a couple minutes left, we did put up an application on our in our bio and our link tree. You can look that up on Instagram, but the application is for anybody who wants to collaborate, because we know that there is so many beautiful souls out there who just want to literally diarrhea the way we want to.
Diarrhea.
Out of the mouth. So sometimes, and that's why I started ever podcasting, because I felt like I was literally going to explode. And if that's the way you feel, I got you, girl. So
come and sit with us.
And we can actually do everything online and make it sound like you're sitting right with us, as long as our shit is behaving
and working. We can do it
either way. We can still do it. But yeah, so fill out that application if you got the balls, the dingleberries, to come on and share and not give a fuck. So that's just
come and be raw with us.
Come.
Thanks for tuning in. Oh my god. What's up with us?
You know what? We haven't even got like sexually punned yet. So
no.
You just wait.
Just wait. Okay, guys, we love you all, and thanks for tuning in to Raw Babes 101.
101.
Yeah. Bye. Save it.
Good job.
It was
good. That was fun. It just
it was you know what? I'll tell you, your presence and information to give was just, we were just aligned
100%
to the next level.
And these messages,
oh my god, are we still
these messages have come through so many different people, different methods, but it's all the same message.
Yes.
So
leaders, surround yourself with leaders and like-minded people, or even if you may not be like-minded yet, reach for those people that you're like, oh, I want to feel what they're feeling, or talk like they're talking, or walk like they're walking, and then reach for those. Look at who you're surrounding yourself with.
Oh, that's such a big one. It really is, because if you're somebody that might be not in your higher self and you're surrounding yourself with people that make you feel hierarchy, there's an issue, guys.
Yeah. You need to keep healing.
Yeah.
Keep
the work.
Keep at it.
Keep working.
Keep going.
Love you.
Love you guys. I didn't even know we were still recording. So.
But you know what? This is just going to be our new thing, because then people will just have to watch our video.
Yeah, because they're not going to hear this on the podcast.
No, that wasn't it. Never mind.
She's like, Saturday at 5. Oh, I know what we're going to do. I'm asking you a question. Hey, Tiffany would call that a gold nugget. What I'm about to do.
Gold nugget.
Okay. This is what I'm asking you. When you were young, Tiffany, what did you want to be when you grew up? When you were young, like I'm talking really young, like first when somebody ever asked you, like, would you ever thought to be anything?
That really didn't come to me in my like younger years, but in high school I wanted to be a graphic designer, and in those times, so I graduated in 99, and we only had just got the internet within those last couple of years, and even then it just took so long for it to like
Kind of like at my house when we're trying to download things.
It just took so long, and I just don't feel that it was just very it wasn't as known, wasn't as familiar. And when I had brought this up to people, I actually got
Made fun of.
Yeah, people are like,
poo-pooed your idea.
You don't want to do that. And I thought, now I'm like, you assholes. Why would you do that to a kid? Like, I don't know. If someone comes to you with an idea, encourage it.
Don't poo-poo it.
Because anything's possible if you put your mind to it.
100%.
Anyways, so that was mine. What about you?
Ready? A motherfucking dancing dentist. I'm not kidding. I wanted to be a dentist, and I also wanted to dance.
On the table?
No. Dancing dentist.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
Well, you're doing half of it.
Exactly. And I'm okay with not being a dentist. I will go to the dentist rather than be a dentist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, there was a lot of other things. My family always told me, oh, Hollywood's calling, Hollywood's calling. Because I was very dramatic. And I still am.
You know what's funny is when I was very young, I very much enjoyed being in front of the camera.
Oh.
And my
Oh.
my grandma was like my biggest fan. And she was like, and I think my Aunt Tilly, she's passed now, but she
And your grandma too.
No, God, she's still kicking it. Like, It's insane. She's in her 90s. Yeah. She's
Good
like,
genes, baby cakes.
yeah, she's totally.
We'll be doing this. I already know my lifeline goes like all the way from here to here, and I was told that I'm going to be here in the hundreds.
Oh,
so
I
we'll
love
be
it.
Sitting here in
Like,
the hundreds, being like, "Don't you do that? Learn your lessons, dear."
But that was the thing. So that is another thing that Kristen and I have in common, is that we didn't mind being in the spotlight.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until like these weird beliefs came up, and it literally terrified me. So I've prepared myself for this basically for the last couple of years. Didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I had no idea why I was doing it, why 100%. I was even being called to do it. I just kind of listened to my inner guide, and I just kind of started putting myself out on Instagram and started podcasting, and I just thought, I'm crazy. What am I thinking? But
you're trusting your intuition.
Yeah,
your guides. You're being pushed. You're being
it was like a magnet. It was so bizarre. We could talk about this another time too.
No, but I love this, but I wanted to say something on that. So like you said, you were afraid to put yourself out there, and that's what happened to me, because I did a lot of like modeling and acting. So when I would go for an audition, the fear took over. So I a lot of the times just made excuses and self-sabotage and wouldn't even go for the audition because I was just too afraid. So it wasn't until later on in life about even putting out a dance video or this sort of thing, I'm not afraid anymore, because I've overcome the fear of putting myself out there because I love myself.
Yeah.
And I'm okay if people don't love me because I love me. And another thing that just came to my mind was my son. We can get triggered from our kids because they can get, like, they're all up in their feelings, like, I don't like you. And you know what I say to him? I go, that's okay. I like me. And then you know what he says? He goes, Mom, I like you. I'm like, awesome. Because I don't need validation through other people anymore or things. I just validate myself. So try that. Turn that around when your kids say stuff to you like, oh, I hate you,
Or
you're
kids,
so mean.
if you don't have kids,
Yeah.
sometimes you'll have random kids come up to you and
Oh, yes.
say,
Yes. Or pick you apart or say something that just triggers you. Oh, 100%.
my kids would do it to people, and I'm like,
Oh,
I'm
Cassius does
sorry,
that.
I'm so sorry.
But we can't be sorry for another person because, you know what? Maybe they're meant to trigger something in that person that they have to heal and they have to deal with.
Well,
so anyway,
we know that.
Good topics, good conversations.
I'm glad you guys were here to see this.
Yeah.
But we're going to clock out now. So, peace.